Happy video day, guys. Today we're doing another first impression on a brand new release. Now, this was one that I didn't make up your mind on, and I told you guys I probably am not going to pick it up, but you guys really wanted to see it. I got so many DMs from you guys on Instagram asking me to pick up this palette, so I caved. I said, okay, you want it? I get it. So the palette that I picked up is the new Tarte Tartelette palette. So this is a $45 palette that just released from Tarte. It's a very neutral scheme, if you guys can see, a very everyday type of palette. And the actual name is the Tarte Tartelette Juicy Amazonian Clay Eyeshadow Palette. So I went ahead and picked it up to show it to you guys and also try it out for you guys to see if it was worth it. Got a lot of little thoughts on this palette. Obviously, I have it on my eyes today, so we're gonna get into everything. I'm gonna break it all down for you guys, but before I do, if you haven't done so already, subscribe. It's on one of these two sides, whichever side it's on. Hit subscribe, join the channel. I'm Christina Brooke, and I love to talk about makeup and fashion. So if you guys like those things, you're probably gonna like it here. So let's go ahead, let's get into this palette right now. Okay, first things first, let's go over some of the details. So like I said, this is a $45 palette. So on Sephora, it says it's the next generation version of Tarte's cult classic Tartelette palettes, and it features 20 rosy and bronze shades. So inside of here, you're also getting 10 mattes, you're getting 4 pearlescents and 6 metallic finishes. So it's also supposed to be arranged in rows so you can make more natural, very everyday looks. It's not gonna crease, it's not gonna fade. That's all the claims that they're saying about the palette. So I have to talk about the packaging really quick because I actually think this is really, really cute. I really like this packaging. It is like a blush pink, which if you guys can't tell is one of my favorite colors. I love a good blush pink. And then it even has details in like a lighter pink. So I think that this palette is so cute. I mean, I really, really love it. And then inside you get an amazing size mirror. I mean, this mirror is like pretty phenomenal. And all the shades are very, very pretty. And as they described, it looks like a very easy everyday palette that has like some really, really pretty, very subtle shades inside of it. So what do I think of this? What do I think of this palette? We're gonna go ahead and jump right into the review. Like always, I tell you guys my thoughts on the palette, then at the end of the video, I'll show you guys me applying it. And during that part, you guys will see the reactions, my first impression thoughts as using it, but this is gonna be what I'm thinking right now. So of course, I didn't use every single shade in this palette. I'm gonna have to continue using this. This is gonna be like one of those that when I come back and I tell you guys my final thoughts, I'll know 100%. But just based off of what I have done so far and what I have swatched and what I have felt, I have some thoughts here. So in my Make Up Your Mind, I actually thought that some of these rosier tones weren't gonna go as rosy as they are. I actually thought that they were gonna lean a little bit more neutral, but they are a little bit more pink than I expected. But not pink in a bad way, more like a blushy pink, a very natural, very everyday eye pink. So actually it is very pretty when you see it in person. It also can be very boring when you see it in person. So this can go two ways. This could either be like that real extremely boring looking palette, or it could be just like a very easy everyday, like, hey, I think I can use that a lot kind of palette. So when playing with it, I do want to say that I feel like this palette is made for somebody who doesn't like to use many colors in a look. Okay, because when I was doing this look, of course I try to use a lot of colors on purpose because I'm trying to make a little bit more complicated looks just so that I can play with more colors. If I was doing just a regular look for like my everyday, I probably wouldn't even use as many. Maybe I would use 2 colors, sometimes 3. It just depends on my mood. Today, of course, I had to jump into a few. And by doing that, I noticed that there is some things that I don't like about this palette, but then there's also some things that I feel like could be very handy about the palette. Like in my opinion, like I feel like this is the type of palette that you have to look at like a quad. When you look at it, you look at 4 colors together and you can create really pretty everyday looks. So like let's say you wanted to do something in a brown family. If you just grab from these 4 right here, you're gonna have a very beautiful, nice, soft brown look. You wanna go on the pinky side, you can grab this quad right here. Right here is a more neutral kind of quad right here. I just like the way it works if you look at it as a quad. If you try to jump around too much, I don't feel like they mesh as well. For example, today I wanted to use this dark deep brown because I really want to smoke out the edge. First off, I don't think that this brown blends amazing. That being said, it's not bad. It's just like not the most beautiful blend. I think I'm kind of getting spoiled with Natasha Denona's formula, and I can just see the difference in the blend. But when I use this, I'm gonna pick up less product and build it up so that the blend is prettier. Because I feel like if you pick up too much, this is like one of those formulas that kind of like get stuck in place, and as you blend it you're like, oh man, I should have picked up less. So less is more when you're working with this palette. That's how I feel. So next time I use this, I'm going to pick up less product in the first go around and see if it blends out prettier and better. I think it will. Another thing is I was kind of like jumping around. So I went from here, I went in here, I went in here. Like I tried to grab from each one of the rows, and I don't love the way it looks jumping from each one of the rows. It's almost like they're kind of arranged in a way that you should use them. Like I don't like grabbing from this section down here and mixing it with this section. Like I just don't think that they mesh as well. But if you mix this section with this section, it's okay. This one with this one is okay, and this one with this one, it's okay. That's kind of like my vibe with it. It's a very easy palette, but for very simple looks and not using too many shades and kind of staying within the family. And I think you can create very pretty everyday wearable looks. So if you're somebody who goes into the office, if you're somebody who just needs like very quick looks, I feel like you can get that with this palette. And it's very reminiscent of like, you know, like a Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury, or even the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam, or any of those kind of palettes. It gives you that kind of vibe, just on a more simplified level, that I feel like it's just more for those one and done looks. If you try to go too dramatic here, I don't think you're going to love it as much as you just try to just use it for simplified looks. When it comes to the formula, like I was saying, the brown I wasn't a huge fan of. I didn't think this blended that fantastic, but the rest of them blended nice. So these center tones right here, like the more neutrals, on my skin tone, those are like my blending shades. They're gonna look very similar to my skin tone. Up here is where I'm gonna be seeing dimension. I'm also gonna see a difference with these right here because they are a little bit more pink. And then of course these metallics will show up. The metallics themselves I really like. I like the metallic formula. It's very creamy. It's actually pretty pigmented. If you guys can see, it has a nice pigment to them, but they're not like insane. That's why I feel like this is like one of those palettes that people who want a very like everyday, very easy to wear, not too in your face looks is gonna really appreciate that, because the metallics in here don't pack a huge punch. It's not like you're putting on those metallics that you're like, and your eyes are like glistening everywhere, you know, Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona. But this has more of a simplified, more subtle metallic. And that's okay. I'm okay with that too. It's not every day that I want my eyes to bling to space. Sometimes I want them to be a little bit more subdued. And I do feel like this does that. This gives you a more subdued look. And just for some quick comparisons, I just want to show you guys like one of the palettes that I used the most in Make Up Your Mind was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam. And I do still think these look very similar. So yes, if you have the Soft Glam, you don't have every single one of the colors, but you already have a pretty nice amount of the colors in your Soft Glam. Also, I was looking at this palette as well. I don't think the colors are identical, but if you have the new nude from Huda Beauty, you have some of the colors. Like I said, this palette is not perfectly duping this one, but they're similar. And also, if you have the mini nude light, you have very similar tones in your collection already. You can kind of gauge whether you want a big version of this if you own this one. And if you notice yourself loving the Soft Glam so much and you just want more variations of those tones, maybe you would be into this as well. So right now, first impression wise, after using this, I think the formula is good, not great. The color selection is nice, tad boring. I think they could have upped it just a tad bit. Do I think I'm going to use it? Yes, I do think that this is going to be a useful palette, but I think it's going to be more useful on those days that I don't want to do too much and I just want to do something very natural, very easy to wear. Maybe even if I'm wearing a tinted moisturizer, just use one of the metallics as a flush of color, because it does that not so metallic look that you can like wear it during the day and totally feel okay. That's how I feel like I'm going to use this palette. And that's the way I think that you guys guys are going to use the palette too. So just knowing what you're getting with the palette I think is very important. And if you're expecting Natasha Denona metallic, or you're expecting even like the Too Faced metallics when you put them on that they're super vibrant, you're not getting that. You're getting very soft, you're getting very subtle, you're getting very natural and very easy, effortless looks with this. I think it's pretty. I definitely will use it. I don't think it's anything out of this world, and it has a scent. It has a scent. I don't know why it has a scent, but it reminds me of the scent from the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. There is a scent in here. It doesn't bother my eyes. And I don't feel like it has a lingering smell. Can't not stand things that have a lingering smell, which I will tell you guys about something I tried the other day, and it's probably gonna be in my best and worst of the month because, oh my God, that had a smell. But I can't stand like lingering smells. This doesn't have a lingering smell, so that's also pretty decent. I wish it didn't have any smell, but at least it doesn't linger on the lids. That's my thoughts on the palette. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I definitely am going to use it a lot more and give you guys final thoughts on it. But if this is your color scheme, if you're looking for something more neutral, very easy to wear, very effortless, doesn't give you a huge punch, but you could do different looks. Like you could dramatize your looks a little bit with it, then maybe this is the perfect palette for you. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Now let's go ahead and let's get into the tutorial so you guys can see me creating this look, and you also will hear some commentary on some of the shades that I used and whether I thought that they were any good. So let's get into that right now. All right, guys, I have you zoomed in. I am so excited to try out the new Tarte palette. Have it sitting here, high performance neutrals. So this is the new Tartelette palette. Guys, looks like this. I love the color of it. The color was so pretty. A nice blush pink. I wore a blush pink shirt today, but yeah. So let's go ahead and let's see. Ooh. Look how pretty. Yay! Very pretty, very neutral palette. I can't wait to put this on my lids, see how it performs. What I do like is it does have a little bit more pinky tones than I thought, but I mean like pretty pinks, you know, not fuchsias. Ooh. Is this a Too Faced palette or a Tarte palette? It smells like the Too Faced Chocolate Gold. Why does it have a scent? Oh my goodness. Does anybody notice that? Anybody who bought this? All right. So let's go ahead and let's start off with one of these neutral colors. I want to use this color right here. Ooh, okay, this looks like it's going to be pigmented from the brush swipe here. It's a very soft brown. It's pretty. Very basic color. It's almost the color of my skin tone. Does a nice little transition. Nothing to like run and like be like, oh my God, it's so amazing. It's okay, you know. Let's go ahead and I want to use one of these pinkier tones. I'm gonna jump into this one. Ooh, this is a lot pinker, but it's a pretty pink. Okay, so this is like a blushy pink. That's a pretty color. I was not expecting that. Okay, so this color is actually pretty pigmented. You guys see how much pigment there is to that? That's a very pigmented color. So what I want to do is go into one of the browns because I want to see how deep these browns get. Let's see this one here. I'm just like very interested in knowing if you could really deepen out a look. Huh. So far, I feel like you could. It seems like it's blending out pretty good and it's getting pretty deep, so I do think that you can deepen out these looks. And it's blending okay. It's not like fantastic. It's okay. It's blending okay. I think it could blend better, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is grab into, let's see this gold. I want to see this gold. That metallic is very pretty. I don't know what we're doing here with this look, to be honest. I don't know where we're going. Let's grab into one of the lighter colors, like one of the lighter metallics. I just kind of like, let's grab this one. I want to jump back into that deep brown and see if I can smoke just a little bit more on this outer edge. I feel like it didn't blend that great. I'm really trying to gather my thoughts here. I don't know if I like this deep brown. I think this deep brown is not really blending that great. I mean, it's not like horrid, but I expected it to blend a little bit better. Okay, I finally got it blended good enough, you know? That's the only color so far that I'm like, I'm gonna go back into that deep brown because I'm a masochist apparently, but I want to kind of like add it here. Now I'm gonna jump back into this color one more time because now that I blended so much, I gotta kind of like add the metallic-y color back on. See, the metallics in this palette are actually pretty and they work really nice. So the metallics are a hit. Just that one brown I'm not a huge fan of, but so far everything else has been pretty okay, pretty consistent. I kind of have an idea of what I think of this palette already. Pretty interesting. Okay, let me put on some mascara and I'll show you guys the final look. And here we go, here is the final, guys, and that is it. That is all I have for you guys on this first impression. So like I said, I think it's a decent palette. I don't think it's anything to like run around and be like, I need you in my life, you know? So if these are not your colors, you definitely don't need this. If you're missing something within this color range and you like this palette, you might actually really like it. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you have not already, and I will talk with you guys later. Bye.